The fifth generation RAV4 was unveiled in March 2018 in the New York International Auto Show. And 2018 till today, it's actually been many years already. And everybody's been waiting for the sixth generation. It would be called the model code XA60 because that's how they call it in internal Toyota sense. But yesterday, there was a spy shot that came on the web, and people are now talking about it. Let's go and have a look at the spy shot and the current generation RAV4 and see is there any big differences or not. Let's get to it. Hey, it's LSF here today, and today we're here to look at the Toyota RAV4. This is supposedly the 2026, the sixth generation, and the top part is the spy shot that came out, and it looks like somewhere in the United States. And then on the bottom, this is the current generation RAV4, and it's actually the updated refresh version. And when you look at spy shots, it's very hard to see exactly what's happening under the spy, like the stickers. But when you look at it, it does look like the proportions are very similar. The problem that we have here is I even try to overlay the current RAV4 on it, but because the angle is a little bit off, and then also the proportion is it's very hard to find an image that will show like for like. So I gave up on that, and that one probably will not work. So that was given up. And then now we look at, okay, it looks like the proportions are the same. And when you start looking at the elements of the car, like if you look at the A pillar, B, C, D pillars, you can see that the designs are very similar. So you can see here, even the roof rails are very similar. You can see that. One thing that I've noticed here in the front is in the current generation, the front, the triangle here actually scoops up. This one is now flat and more of a proportional triangle. And then when you look at the back window, you can see that this is also cut up so that the window could go all the way down. But it does look like this window here does go a little bit further down. So you can see here, this window does go down a little bit more down, and then it turns over, compared to the current one where it actually cuts short and then it turns over. And if you look at the distance between this C pillar with this D pillar here, you notice that the distance between here and here, it's actually wider. So what does that mean? You probably have a bigger window on the back, and you can also notice the slope up here is actually a little bit more straight, so meaning there's more cargo capacity in the trunk. Here we can't really see what the back looks like. So when you look at here, you can see that these fenders are also there. We don't know how far it goes, but it does look like it's very similar, that there's the sheet metal, and then this piece probably is where we see the plastic that comes in. So with that, that's what it'll look like. You can look at here, it's a little bit different. And I think you can see a little bit of a line here. So you can see here, we have the metal bend here. You can notice that the line is actually very close to the door handles. And here we actually have two lines. We have one line here and one line down there. So definitely a little bit different in the bend of the metal sheet. And if we look closely here, I think it comes from here. And then we go down, it actually goes up to here. So very similar type of design. One of the biggest difference we see here is this piece probably is where we will also see the black plastic piece, because that's where we see a little bit of a bend. So then when you look at the design, it will be very similar to what it is today. One thing to note, I see a headlight here, which I'm not too sure, because I also noticed that there's an opening here. I don't know if it's designed to have the headlights here, but what on earth is happening here, I don't know. Don't know if this is a temporary measure so they have lights, or the headlights will actually end up being here. So when we look at the door opening, you would notice here that the door opening actually would open here, which is very close to what it is today. And when you look into the rear, I see that there's a line here, which I believe that the door will actually go here. And you look at here, it looks exactly the same. So really very similar design, but definitely we can see that the slope is much less, and hopefully that will actually mean more storage capacity. And then when we look into the front, it's a hammerhead type of a design. And when you look at that, let me swap over to the crown signia. So when you look at the grille, it does look very similar to the crown signia grille. There's like the lines on the bottom, and there's also the grille here. The RAV4 definitely is a higher car, and that's why you see the proportions are probably a little bit taller compared to the crown signia. And then when you look at the hammerhead design, I'm not sure if we're seeing a hammerhead here, but from what I'm seeing, it's possible that we have a new hammerhead design because it could actually be like this and similar on the other side. But then there's also a light in the middle. That could be the case. I still don't understand what this is here. The Toyota logo, when we look at it, I believe this is where we see the Toyota logo. This could be one place, or it could actually be up here. But I think that is where it could be. But because it could also be the radar cruise control, radar sensors are here. And with their new design language, the Toyota logo will show up here. So I think that's probably what it could look like. In the crown signia, you can see the headlights are pushed up much higher. So it could mean that this could have the headlights, and this is just temporary measure, and the hammerhead is here. But then when you look at the bend and the crease of the hood, you can see that a lot of the new generation, the Camrys, the crown signia, the Prius, they actually don't have this type of design. And I think this design is similar to what we're looking at on the GX. So you can see that this sheet metal, it definitely is not as pronounced as the GX. It's a little bit thinner, but I think the design is very similar, where it's more pronounced up, and then it'll actually fold down, and then very similar to how the GX is designed right now. So a little bit more of a SUV rugged look. So with that in mind, does that mean that the Toyota logo could still be in the front? Hard to say, because I don't know if this will have the hammer, and this is where the cruise control designs are, because if you look at here, this is where the radar cruise is right behind there. And then there's a few openings, but here it doesn't look like there's any openings, but they could have covered it. Again, very hard to look into. But overall, when you look at this, definitely the design of the RAV4 is not that off from the current generation. So definitely what we're looking at is they're not going to build a brand new platform. So the TNGA-K platform is most likely what we'll be seeing. Follow me on Instagram at LSFT Videos. You can see updates on my experience with the NX450H Plus, which may not be shown on any future videos. You can reach out to me via direct messaging if you have any questions on your Lexus. If you like this video, you can provide me feedback in the comments below, like this video, share it with your friends. This definitely will help with the YouTube algorithms. Press the subscribe button and bell icon and get notified when new videos show up. And lastly, if you want to support me further, you can provide me a super thanks, or visit my Amazon storefront before you purchase anything from Amazon, or you can purchase products from the list on the items that I've been using with my vehicle or at home at no extra cost to you. And now let's continue with the video. Alright, so we have another spy shot, and this one is in the rear, and this is in Japan. So when you look at the back, you definitely can see that the window looks a little bit smaller. That's one thing I've noticed. And another thing is you can see the brake lights are here. And I do seem to see a little bit more red. So I don't know if this goes as a light bar like the crown signia, or it's just a light and then there's probably a plastic piece to have red, and then to mimic a light bar. Don't know what that really means, but the new designs have been a lot more slimmer in the headlights. And again, we're seeing black pieces here. So what I'm thinking is maybe these are the radar, like the cruise controls or the sensors, and that's why they have to keep them open. And maybe that's what's happened in the front as well. Probably they can't cover it because they're sensors, and the car cannot operate without it. And then you can also see here we have the markers. they seem to be very aligned with what they are right now. And when you look at the rear here, it does look like it's a curved here, very similar to the ground Signia design. So overall, it has taken a lot of the language of the current new generation Toyota vehicles. And I don't know, maybe Toyota logos here. If the Toyota logo is here, it's either a very small logo and they have the light bar, or there is no light bar. And the last thing you'll notice is the tailpipes don't stick out. Similar design language as even the NX and the Crown Signia, where they no longer will have the tailpipes sticking out. So it makes it look like it's more like a hybrid. I would say that's the same design language that they had for quite some years already. So this spy shot is very early stages. This is probably just the first spy shot, and when you look at it, it does definitely look like it is the 2026 RAV4. Or it may not be 2026, who knows. But definitely we know from the patterns of Toyota at this point, the RAV4, probably you will not see the gas-only version anymore. It will be probably available as the RAV4 hybrid, the RAV4 plug-in hybrid, and probably, don't know, maybe a RAV4 battery electric vehicle. But at this point, it may be a bit too early to talk about battery electric. Their sales numbers aren't good unless they do get a better type of setup, which I doubt because this is on the TNGA-K, so I don't think the BEV will show up. But definitely hybrid and plug-in hybrid. So instead the plug-in hybrid being built in Japan, I think the next step is to have it built in the United States or in North America, somewhere in Canada, where they built the RAV4s today, because I think at that point they will be able to now chug out a lot more RAV4 plug-in hybrids and meet those demands of electrification. We don't know specs about this, but definitely I would say it will not stay at the current like 40 miles. It probably will go beyond that. I am hoping that we will see in kilometers, maybe 100 kilometers. And if that's the case, reality is I don't need a BEV because 100 kilometers is typically the most I've driven in a typical day before I get it plugged in and charged again. So hopefully that is the case, but nobody knows. But do leave in the comments below. What is your expectations of the RAV4, the plug-in hybrid? Is it going to go beyond the 5th generation with the plug-in hybrid? Is the delay because of the RAV4 needs a better plug-in hybrid powertrain? Because we haven't seen one yet. I hope that you found that this video was informative, and until next video, drive safely. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please comment, like, share this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel and press that bell icon to get notified when new videos are posted. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can provide me a super thanks. And until next time, cheers.